I'm a family therapist and a parenting coach, parenting therapist, child therapist. I do a lot with families and kids and moms and just help families have more consistency in homes. That's what we're talking about today, consistency, more calm, just more, just less basically living in fight flight, less living in a state of like chaos is what I really do to try to help families. Okay, so today we're talking about consistency and how important it is to have with your kids. So let me tell you a little bit about my background. So I'm a mom, but before that I was a teacher. I taught school for about 5 years, and one of the biggest lessons I learned as a teacher was consistency and how important it is to do whatever it is you're going to say. Because if you don't, one, the kids will always call you out on it. Then if you don't, they will tend to not listen to you. They will disrespect you. And so that was something, a huge lesson I learned as a beginning teacher, was to always have consistency. And then as a parent, the same thing. Consistency is probably one of the most important things you can have if you want things to run smoothly in your home. It can start very early, from the time literally they're born. And if you do it consistently, you will have a kid that listens to you for the most part. And you don't have to have a lot of arguments. I mean, granted, like my son's 13, we do have our moments of tension. But I could imagine it would be a lot worse if we had not done all the work up until where we're at right now. So today I was going to do a little lesson, why consistency matters, and I'm going to share the things that it will create in your home, some traps that we get in, and then also some tips for you to try as a parent and to try to help if you're having a lot of struggles with being consistent or just with your kids' behavior. This should help you. I will say the younger they are when you start this, the easier it is. If they are older and you're starting this, just make sure you let them know that you're going to try something new. I wouldn't just spring it on them because they're going to be confused because you're changing how you usually do stuff. So make sure that if they're older, that you tell them you're going to start doing some new things around the house. And if you do decide to do that, make sure you stick with it, because if you don't, you're going to end up with the same issues that you were in to start with. All right, so to start with, why it matters. It matters for 3 reasons, and I'm going to tell you those. It's safety, it's trust, and it is confidence. So with safety, one of the reasons it matters is because, hey, Zach, kids know what to expect. Whenever they feel safe, they're not using the back of their brain to think, they're using the front of their brain, and they feel safe, and then they're going to be able to process whenever you say, put your shoes on, or it's time for dinner, can you set the table? Because they know what to expect. If you spring it on them, like all of a sudden we got to go, and I need you to get your shoes on, we're late. We got to be there. Immediately they're going to go to the back of their brain. They're not going to feel safe, and they're going to feel anxious, and they're not going to be able to listen as quickly, and maybe even have like a behavior outburst, depending on the child. Whenever you are predictable, it calms the nervous system. The nervous system just stays very regulated when you're predictable. So that's the first thing, is it creates that safety in the brain to where you're always kind of in that cognitive state. The second thing it does is it creates trust. So with trust, that whenever you say you're going to do something, you do it, that helps, because then children learn that they can believe what you're going to say, and they believe that your words have meaning. And so when your words have meaning, they're going to listen to you because then they respect you. And if you say something and don't do it, they lose respect. And I've noticed that we're living in a different time now. We have to have respect from the kids. We have to have respect from the people we live with in our home, even if they're smaller than us. This isn't like it was back in the 80s, 90s, 70s. It is different now. We have to respect each other. And if we don't, you're going to have some issues at home that are really challenging. And you probably learned that with your family. The second thing about the trust is, if they trust you, they don't have to test boundaries as often, right? They know what you're going to do if they break if they break whatever boundary you set. They know exactly what's going to happen. So I'll give you an example. Like computer time at our house. I'm pretty strict with computers. We have limits on things. And so my son's pretty good about getting off when I say, because he knows that if he doesn't do what I say, that there'll then be a consequence. And so he doesn't push that boundary. He pretty much listens to me through it, because he knows that if he breaks it, there will be a consequence that I will follow through with. Now, we've been doing this since he was like 2 and 3 years old. So because we've done this for 10 years, it doesn't take a lot for me to set a boundary at this point. All right. Now, the third thing is confidence. This is another really cool thing, and this is I learned when I was teaching, and then I see it in my son as well. Whenever kids know what to expect, they have not been living in fight flight. They do not live in chaotic environments. They live in calm, predictable homes. They're going to be very confident. Okay? They're going to have more confidence about themselves. If you know my son, he's an example of this. I mean, he's not perfect, neither am I, but he's a very confident kid. And I think it's because we've done a lot of work to help him live in a place of non-chaos, even though we've had really crazy things that have happened in our home. We have done the work around it, right? I've seen it in other homes. When I was teaching, I really paid attention to the kids that would excel, the kids that were leaders in the school, the kids that tended to do very well academically, that the teachers liked. I always was really interested in that because I was not one of those kids. And I can get more into my story later, but I really struggled in school. And so I was always fascinated by why some kids, the teachers really liked them, or why they would make good grades or whatever, right? So, as a parent, I was like, I want to make sure I do this with my kids. I want to make sure that I instill this in them. And one of the ways is consistency. They do not have anxiety when there's consistency, right? Because they know what is going to happen. There's less power struggles. One of the other things, I'll give you another example, to help with the anxiety is like before school, like when we're driving to school every day, very consistent. We talk about what the day is going to look like. I have done this from the time he was in preschool till now. We talk about what the day is going to look like, who's going to pick him up, what we have going on after school. So there's no anxiety around what it's going to look like. There is no power struggle about he has to come with me to do errands. None of that, right? It's just very cut and clear because we've been doing it forever, very consistently. All right, so the 3 reasons consistency will matter is because of the safety, feeling safe, staying in the front part of our brain, the trust. Once you say something, kids know what you're going to say and they'll believe you. And then the third one is it really instills confidence in the children. It instills confidence in who they are as a person. All right. So now the traps that we can get in as parents, and I get in them too. I'm not perfect. I'm just trying to do the best I can. The first one is being exhausted. Whenever you're super tired, you are not going to have the availability or the whatever to be consistent because you're so exhausted. So that means paying attention to what your day likes. Are you getting enough sleep? Are you staying off of social media? Are you taking the rest that you need? Are you getting the exercise that you need? Are you eating right? Right? So you cannot be exhausted. You won't have the capacity to do what needs to be done if you're exhausted. So for me, that is one of the things that I really strive is to make sure that I am here, right? I get up every morning. My job is to take care of this kid, and I want to make sure that I'm not exhausted and that I'm here for him when he needs me to do whatever it is that I need to do. That's one trap, is being really tired. Another one is wanting to avoid conflict. So sometimes it is easier to give in, right? Because you know the minute you say something, they're going to come back at you, right? You know the minute you're like, get off the computer. It's time to go to bed. I need you to eat dinner. Don't eat so many snacks. Please come inside. Please get off the game. You know what I'm talking about, all the things. The minute you say that, you know it's going to be met with an argument. Or go clean your room. So yeah, it is a lot easier to avoid that. But it's not going to help in the long run. So that's the second trap, is trying to avoid the conflict that will happen. The third one is being inconsistent with it. When you're inconsistent with routines or schedules or screens or the chores or bedtime, the kids know that, and that's when they know to push you, right? That's when they know that I'll be able to get away with this because we're not consistent. And they're not cognitively thinking that. That's kind of like running in the background as a tape because they've lived with you forever and they know that you're not going to follow through. So not being consistent with routines, being inconsistent is another trap we get into. And then trying to be perfect. This is not like about perfection. Consistency is not about perfection. We're aiming to do it as often as possible, right? We're aiming to do it as consistently as possible. I'll give you an example. So as my son has gotten older, he's 13 now, I allow him to be on the computer more in the nighttime. And I go to bed because I get tired. I'm older. I want to get to bed by like 9:30. But I will set an alarm on my phone to wake up, right? Maybe I'll set it for 10:30 or maybe I'll set it for 11, whatever it is, to make sure he's getting off. And also just to let him know I'm still paying attention to what he's doing, to let him know that I know that he's there, that I'm aware of who he's talking to, what he's playing, and I'll give him like a warning. I'll be like, I need you to get off in like 20 minutes. And you know what? He pretty much will get off because he knows that I'm going to set another alarm to make sure. And recently I haven't even had to do that. I'll set the one and then I'll get up and see, and he's usually in bed. So I'm not perfect with it either because I have forgotten to do it at times. Sometimes I'll wake up and be like, oh my God, I forgot to set the alarm and I slept right through it. So I have no idea what time he went to bed. But for most of the time, I am very consistent with it. So the trap is not being perfect. So here's the 4 consistency traps we get into. Being exhausted, not paying attention to what we need as a person and as a parent, wanting to avoid the conflict, so ignoring whatever it is so you don't get in that argument or disagreement, being inconsistent with your routines like bedtime, screens, chores, all those things, and then trying to be perfect at it. We can't be perfect. We're just trying to do the best we can. So just aim for maybe more than not, right? All right. So now for the tips. So you kind of heard my whole spiel about like why it's happening, the traps that we get into. So here are some tips for you that I think that might help and that you can try. You can try them today. You can start them tomorrow morning. But whatever you decide to do, if you're going to do it 100%. Lock in. Get it done. Don't just do it for a few days. Make a goal for yourself, right? Because if you do it for a short time and then you stop, you're just going to reinforce the bad behavior again. So whatever you decide and do it. All right, number 1, start with one routine. Now, I've given you guys like a ton of examples of things to do to be consistent with. If you are not a person that has done this a lot, I think you need to pick one thing, one small thing. Maybe it's bedtime. Maybe it's morning chores. Maybe it's a morning routine. Maybe it's one chore. Maybe it is screen, something, whatever it is, just pick one thing. And the second thing is to set yourself up for success with it, all right? So you picked your one thing. Say it's going to be chores. Maybe you're going to pick 2 chores that your kid needs to do daily. It's going to be dishwasher, take the trash out. So you've picked your routine. So that's my routine we're going to pick, making sure they do the garbage and making sure they empty the dishwasher. And then we're going to set ourselves up for success. We're going to make sure we create some kind of like system for this. Is it going to be done in the morning? Is it going to be done in the evening? Which child is going to do it? What time do you want it done by? Put some structure around it so they are aware. Give yourself an alarm or a reminder on your phone that say you wanted it done by 5. It's not done. You have an alarm on there that you're like, hey, I noticed that the garbage is not out. Can you go ahead and take it out? We talked about it being done by 5. Whatever it is, give yourself a schedule, a visual, an alarm. Take those 2 chores that you want and really create a big structure around it to make sure that you have this consistent routine that's going to make it happen. All right. So start with one thing, something small. Even if you didn't do 2 chores, just do one. The second one is setting yourself up for success, where you're going to create some kind of visual for yourself, alarms, reminders, whatever. The next one is saying less, not talking so much to our kids about whatever it is we do. So, for example, in this situation, we pick the 2 chores. What you're going to do initially is you're going to have a conversation with them. Hey, I've decided that I'm noticing the dishwasher and the garbage are not getting taken out. And every time that these chores need to be done, we're having this argument. So starting tomorrow, these 2 things need to be done by 5 o'clock. And if they're not done, there will be a consequence. But I know that's not going to happen. I know you're going to get it done. But this is how it's going to work. In the morning, I'm going to have right here in the fridge the 2 chores listed that you need to do. Whenever you're done with them, you can check them off if you want. If not, you don't have to do that. And that's it. That's all you're going to talk about it. Whatever you want to say about it, it doesn't have to be those words, whatever, and then be done. So then the next day, you're going to put your 2 chores up there, and you don't have to say anything, right? Nothing, no words. Maybe you might want to text them about it. You could go point to it. Or maybe you might want to say at breakfast, hey, did you see the thing on the fridge we talked about yesterday? And leave it at that, right? So fewer words, fewer of like just even interactions about it. Say it once and be done with it. And then if you don't have it, it's not getting done, you can kind of follow up in different ways. And then the 4th tip is just following through calmly. Whenever something isn't done, say it's our 2 things we just picked, it's not done, don't get like erratic about it. Don't get chaotic, because probably it's not getting done because we've never been consistent about it in the past. The kids are used to you not really caring, not following through. So honestly, it's our fault when these kind of things happen. So we're going to start again. Say it did not get done, you pull them, you say, hey, I noticed that these things did not get done. Remember we talked about this yesterday? I need you to go ahead and do those. I'm going to give you about 30 minutes. I'm going to put a timer on. They need to be done within the next 30 minutes. And depending on your kid, maybe they'll go into it, maybe they won't. If they don't, then you need to put some kind of consequence. Take away something they really like for 30 minutes. Take away their phone for 30 minutes. Take away computer. Don't let them do something. When I say boundary or consequences, it doesn't need to be like hours of consequences. You don't get your phone for the rest of the night. You don't get your phone or you don't get to watch TV all night. It doesn't need to be that. Just give them like a short period of time that just stings a little bit. And then that's going to go in their head. They'll be like, why can't I watch TV? I want to watch this show. Or I really need to text so-and-so back. So just give them like a little small dose of a consequence. Days of taking away the computer forever or the phone all night, those are gone. We just need to do small, short, little increments of a consequence. It will work much better, trust me. So the 4 tips, I'll say one more time again. Routine, set yourself up for success, follow through calmly. Is that 4? Oh, say less. Okay. So routine, set yourself up for success. Say less and then follow through calmly. All right, so those are the 4 tips I want to give you. Let me know how this goes. If you watch this video and you try this stuff, let me know. Send me an email, send me a text, send me a DM here. It would be great. I would love to know how it's working for you, because honestly, you guys, if you do this, I'm telling you it's going to work. I've seen it work time and time again with families I've worked with, kids in the classroom, with myself, right? I'm a step parent too. I have my child, but I also have 2 step kids. So I've done this with, I don't know, probably hundreds of children, maybe even thousands with the amount of families and then students I've had over the years. So try this stuff. See if it works. Take some time for yourself to even figure out what you need to make it consistent in your house. You might have so much chaotic stuff going on right now you don't even know. So just take some time for yourself to figure it out. All right. If this just seems way too overwhelming for you, that's okay. Give yourself some grace. And you can always DM me. Ask me for some help. we can set up a consult, we can talk. Maybe it's something I can do to help support you. I offer these 6 session blocks, these coaching blocks, and it comes with a whole package of stuff and some videos and recordings, different things that could really help your family. So if you're interested